Hey everyone, this is James Wilson with Pedaling Innovations, and I wanted to share some of my thoughts on the recent UCI ruling banning clipless pedals for kids 12 and under in BMX racing. And again, this happened last week, and it kind of caught the industry a little bit off guard. But I think that it's a great thing for kids. It's a great thing for the future of the sport, and it should serve as an example, I think, for other cycling sports that I want to applaud, BMX racing for stepping up and kind of setting an example for, like I said, the other cycling disciplines and putting a rule down like this, because clipless pedals definitely are not something that kids need to be worrying about for a bunch of different reasons. But first off, I want to address, I guess this a lot of this goes back to a lot of the confusion surrounding clipless pedals. Like, why, what are the advantages of clipless pedals? And we get lied to and told that there is a magical pedal stroke that is only available to you when you are attached to the pedals, that you have to be able to pull up on the backstroke and things like that. And so this leads a lot of parents to believe that, well, I need to get my kids on clipless pedals as soon as possible, because that way they're going to learn how to use this pedal stroke, and they're going to learn how to use clipless pedals better. But again, this is actually, it's not true. It's a lie that the clipless pedal industry is perpetuated for no other reason than to simply, dupe people into buying clipless pedals when they may not necessarily need them. And so again, like what the science has shown us, and this is the problem, is that like there is science, there is objective stuff out there about the pedal stroke. And what the science has shown us is that there is no magical pedal stroke that's only available on clipless pedals, that your pedal stroke can and should look the same whether you're on flat pedals or clipless pedals. Now, I did a Facebook Live post, I think last week, covering some of the top ways that flat pedals will make you a better rider. And this is especially true for kids, that when you get this feedback from flat pedals, with your pedal stroke, if you're not pedaling properly, flat pedals let you know that. With your technique, like if you're not bunny hopping or jumping properly, flat pedals let you know that. And again, there's a little bit of a painful process of going through that learning phase, but your body needs this in order to learn. And it's even worse with kids. Like personally, I've always feel like it's borderline criminal to put kids into clipless pedals, because they're still developing on so many different levels, and to put them in clipless pedals and not give their body the opportunity to learn how to do these things without that crutch is really, it's not good. And so again, looking at the long-term future of the sport, we're going to end up with better, more skilled kids coming out of the junior levels of BMX now, because they're being forced to use flat pedals and forced to develop these skills. And there is also the increased risk of injury potential. Like, it is there again, you can look into it. There are studies that look at the increased injury risk from being clipped in, and the studies have shown that there is an increased risk of not getting unclipped and having a severe hip injury, right? Like, surprise, surprise. And so you're when you're crashing, your body gets put into positions where it can be difficult to get out of clipless pedals. And this is especially true for younger kids who don't have the coordination and the strength in order to do that. And so, there is a safety factor there as well. And so personally, I think that clipless pedals are one of the biggest hindrances to the growth of all cycling sports. And that BMX racing, by kind of setting this example, is probably going to see an influx of kids getting into racing, because it's simply going to be more fun, and there's going to be less anxiety and less risk of injury and stuff like that. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day, like if I had a kid racing and he got hurt a couple times because he couldn't get unclipped, I wouldn't be too stoked on that sport. I'd be looking for maybe another sport for my kid to try. So just from a parent standpoint, I think that it makes the sport look better as well, and less pressure on the kids. So anyways, I think overall it was a great step for the UCI to take, that it's going to be nothing but positive. And like I said, I'd really like to see, personally, I'd like to see that ban up to 16 years old. I think that really up to that point, you're developing. Very few people earlier than that have a real opportunity at a really high level to be representing their country and stuff like that. So getting that, you can make exceptions if there are, but anyways, I think that up in that number, and then also other cycling disciplines, especially Nika, who runs the mountain biking, high school mountain biking leagues and stuff. I think that high school leagues for cycling, whether it's mountain biking or road riding, that they should also visit this as well. That whether like the junior varsity teams or put an age limit on it, or rather just ban them all together. I mean, why do kids need to be on clipless pedals? Period. Because again, like whatever you're doing on clipless pedals should be built on top of the skills that you built on flats, right? So as soon as we get past this myth that there's this magical pedal stroke that's only available with clipless pedals, and that you'll actually develop a better pedal stroke and better skills by spending time on flats, then I think a lot of parents and people who may be a little nervous about this will embrace what has happened and realize like how this is a good thing. And also, like as you get kids coming up, they're gonna see like, oh wow, like I can be a really good rider. Like you're gonna see kids coming up and getting to that point where like they can switch to clipless pedals, but realizing like, man, I'm kicking ass on flats. Like I really don't need to switch to clipless pedals. And so again, I think that kids getting a chance to experience what it's like to develop your skills on flats and take them to a relatively high level, and then think about making that switch, you're gonna be seeing a lot less kids making that switch, because they're gonna have a more informed perspective to make that decision on whether they want to make that switch or not. So anyways, just great all the way around. So yeah, definitely want to applaud the UCI and BMX for stepping up and doing that. But yeah, so just some of my thoughts. I'm sure some other people probably disagree with that, but obviously I've got a flat pedal that I think is the best flat pedal out there, so I've got a little bit of a stake in that. But just to remind people, the Flat Pedal Revolution Manifesto, I wrote that years before I ever had the idea for the Catalyst pedal. So I've been a huge advocate for flat pedals and for this idea of using flat pedals to develop your pedal stroke and skills, both for kids and adults, for a very long time. And so yeah, but I'm really glad to see some the UCI stepping up and doing that. So anyway, so I guess that's going to do it. If you guys got any questions or comments, let me know. Post them in the comments and I'll get back to them. And yeah, here we go. Got a little feedback from Chris Lyons letting him know that his kid won on flats and it amazed the other kids, right? Like that's the thing too. You get a good flat pedal rider and you're going to show other people what's possible, right? Like and inspire other people to go, oh, if he can do it, I can do it as well. So I know for myself, just a little side point, when I first started riding mountain bikes, I was lucky enough to get hooked up with a guy, riding partner who rode flat pedals, and he was a really good rider. And so I was able to see, I was like, well, wow, I can get at least as good as him on flats, right? Like his pedals, like you can obviously get that good. And so it was an inspiration for me to see what another rider was able to do on flats, to kind of give me the confidence to say, oh, well, I can do that too. And so again, as more kids are achieving success on flats, and then again, like choosing not to make that switch, it's going to give other kids and other parents the confidence to investigate that option more fully for themselves as well. So but yeah, anyways, yeah, it's awesome. So but anyways, questions, comments, leave them here with the video. I'll come back and get to them, or you can hit me up at james@pedalinginnovations.com. And at pedalinginnovations.com, you can learn more about the Catalyst pedal and the science behind it, because again, there is science out there, folks, about the pedal stroke, about foot position, about these things. And so, taking our subjective experience and combining it with some objective science and data is really what we should be striving for. And so by doing that was how I came up with the design for the Catalyst pedal, so you can learn more about it there. But anyways, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this Facebook Live video, and I will talk to everybody next time.